things just got exciting as the second largest holder of Bitcoin made a major announcement that involves XRP. And although Ripple has had many institutional partnerships surrounding the use of their technology, much of that has not yet impacted the price of the XRP token, as it's been in a range for 6.5 years. However, that's likely about to change, as this new development directly involves the XRP token and is super bullish. So in this video, we'll be covering this groundbreaking announcement and how it will positively impact the price of XRP and your portfolio. We'll be covering the latest developments surrounding Kraken, the exchange, and their brush up with the SEC, which puts the SEC on its heels and provides a stronger case for Ripple as their settlement comes to a close, hoping that they don't get an appeal. We'll be covering some really unique insights into global demand from a brilliant speculator and macro analyst that will give us some insights into what comes next for the economy and crypto markets. So if you're feeling blessed and bullish, comment 777. And if you're going to be the richest person in your family tree, smash the subscribe button. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that the opinions in this video are for informational and educational purposes only and do not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. All investments, including cryptos, carry risks and potential losses. Always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor. We are not licensed financial advisors, and relying on our content for financial decisions is at your own risk. By watching this video, you agree we are not responsible for any losses or damages, and we do not guarantee any specific results or outcomes. Some of the links below may be affiliate links, and we may earn a commission, which actually helps support this channel and helps us to create value-based videos like this. We also hold some positions in the cryptocurrencies that we talk about, but that's only because we do what we believe in. However, this should not be interpreted as a recommendation for you to do the same. With that said, let's get into the video. Hello and welcome back to the Bull Runner channel. My name is Paul, and I think we're going to get started with the SEC stuff because I know although we've talked about it a lot on the channel, I'm assuming many people in the XRP community are just quite over the SEC and Gary Gensler and all of the crap and regulatory hurdles and lawsuits that they put the entire industry through, but more importantly, XRP and Ripple, which has harmed many investors when you really think about it. Well, then they went ahead and attacked Kraken, which is another major US regulated exchange. I would argue probably second biggest now to Coinbase in the United States, at least. Obviously not as big as something like Binance, but that's offshores really. So that said, Kraken recently denied an SEC claim, arguing that digital assets aren't securities. And I do believe with this new development in this case, which the SEC brought on sometime in November of 2023, is going to put the SEC on its heels and might make it weaker, so they're less likely to appeal the settlement from Ripple at $125 million. The SEC alleged that multiple digital assets the crypto exchange offers qualify as unregistered securities. Now, what's really interesting is they've never actually provided any regulatory clarity or any guidelines for companies to register to begin with. So all they've ever done is attack retroactively or after the fact, and that has created a lot of drama among crypto investors and financial institutions or players who provide brokerage services. That said, the exchange argues that the SEC failed to demonstrate that the digital assets in question meet the criteria outlined in the Howey test and therefore do not fall under the SEC's authority. Now, just as a quick reminder, what is the Howey test? Well, the Howey test determines what qualifies as an investment contract subjecting the asset to U.S. securities laws. Or in other words, the SEC would be kind of in charge of that. An investment contract exists if there is an investment of money in a common enterprise with a reasonable expectation of profits to be derived from the efforts of others. And the majority of cryptos have never created any reasonable expectation of profits. Therefore, in other words, people would invest in them and hope they made money, but anyone who created a lot of these major altcoins or cryptos never created for a reasonable expectation of profits and never promised those through the efforts of themselves. So that said, most of cryptos out there do not fall under the category of a security. And obviously Ripple back in 2023 had that ruling, so it is not in this case. But I do believe this weakens the offense of the SEC. The SEC has no authority to regulate Kraken's digital asset trading platform because the digital assets are not securities. Due to the lack of clarity and fair notice regarding Kraken's obligations under the law, again, a US regulated company, Kraken lacked fair notice that its conduct was prohibited. And so basically we're getting sued, or in the case of, if we're talking amongst children here, right, we're on timeout for something we didn't know was wrong, which is totally ridiculous. So much so that Stuart Alderodi, who is the chief legal officer over at Ripple, even made a joke. He said, so the SEC finally admits that 1, crypto asset security is a made-up term, and 2, to prove a crypto asset security is an investment contract, the SEC needs evidence of a bundle of contracts, expectations, which is major, and understandings. Think it's time for the SEC Gov to admit it has become a twisted pretzel of contradictions. Don't worry, I updated the logo for you. Hilarious. This is probably AI generated, but it's definitely a roast to the SEC. And over again, the SEC and Gary Gensler have been getting their asses handed to them, and this is very exciting news because very recently the SEC Gov chairman Gary Gensler himself is under investigation by top Republican lawmakers Jim Jordan, Patrick McHenry, and James Comer for engaging in suspected political favoritism in his hiring practices. So now he's going to have to deal with this. He's going to have to deal with Kraken. He's going to have to deal with OpenSea. He's going to have to deal with Ripple. He's going to have to deal with all of these different things. And I think the last thing that's going to be on his mind is probably appealing or creating more issues with Ripple. So I do believe that lowers the odds in the case that he will appeal come October 6th. But my theory was if he's going to appeal, it's likely going to be after the first rate cut. So we still have to wait and see. But this is all very good news. Gary Gensler is on his way out. He has just been a stain on the seat of the chairman of the SEC, and I think it's going to be good riddance. Now on to the major announcement that is likely going to affect the price of XRP and be a very bullish indicator for markets. Grayscale, the 4th largest holder of Bitcoin in the world. Number 1, we have Satoshi. Number 2, we have BlackRock. Number 3, we have MicroStrategy. And then we have Grayscale, which is a really big deal. They are proud to announce the creation of a new single asset crypto investment trust fund, or a trust, Grayscale XRP Trust, which will be available through private placement. And in this article from Grayscale mentions how they believe the XRP Trust gives investors exposure to a protocol with an important real-world use case. This is exciting stuff, guys. Grayscale's head of product and research, Ray Hunin, by facilitating cross-border payments that take just seconds to complete, XRP has the potential to transform the legacy financial infrastructure. Now, this is coming from a very big player. As you can see here over on Bitcoin treasuries, if you scroll down to funds and ETFs, here's Grayscale sitting at 224,000 Bitcoin. And when you come over to Arkham Intel, you can see that they're sitting on $20 billion worth of crypto, 15 billion of it being in Bitcoin, 5 billion of it in Ethereum, and over time, they're likely going to expand or increase their exposure to XRP. And the reason for that is because the trust is now open for daily subscription by eligible individual and institutional accredited investors. The trust functions like Grayscale's other single asset investment trusts and is solely invested in the token underpinning the XRP ledger. In other words, they will be buying XRP, which is going to be the pin to this entire trust. So a lot of trusts don't actually have to hold the spot underlying asset all the time, or if they do, they'll hold a portion of that, then they'll hold a portion of other things, they'll actively manage and trade it. It's not directly like a spot ETF. But if this trust does well, and we expect it to, considering again they expect that XRP has the potential to transform the legacy financial infrastructure, then that will drive more demand among bigger players in the space, considering they are second behind BlackRock when it comes to their ETFs over here. So yes, this is a very big deal. It's very exciting for XRP, and it's likely going to bring a lot more eyeballs and attention from accredited investors. In other words, people who are relatively rich or wealthy. So now we're near the end of this very long consolidation period of 6.5 years on XRP, as we're getting to the very tip of this long pennant or triangle. And it looks like XRP is likely going to break out into the end of the year, potentially to new all-time highs. But even if we get a little bit of volatility or a sell-off into the upcoming month, not that big of a deal, especially if you head on over to bullrunners.com. Subscribe to discover how to earn crypto in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. So basically what you do is you put your XRP to work. If you're already planning on holding it for a little while, or you're going to be buying and picking up more XRP, this is a great way to not only reduce the volatility in your portfolio by earning crypto, but you can also compound on that bag in the case that we get some sort of a crazy rally to the upside. Okay, so all you have to do in 3 simple steps. Well, first watch this video so you understand kind of how it works. Then you get your XRP wallet, you get your game pieces, you play the game, and you earn crypto. Yes, you actually earn a crypto token, which then you can in turn convert for XRP. Then it's up to you what to do with the XRP. You can sell it for the USD, you can hold on to it and compound on that bag. It's up to you. But ultimately, this is the best way that we found to put that XRP to work. So again, go to bullrunners.com, link in the description below, to learn how to take advantage of our all market solution. Let's get back into the video. Okay, now what I want to do is dive into a little about Lobo T, the CEO of the Independent Speculator, a really brilliant analyst when it comes to the macro environment. And the reality is we're getting a lot of mixed signals in markets, considering the fact that everything seems to be slowing down economically, whether it's unemployment or the fact that a lot of money and capital is flooding into gold, or the fact that maybe the bond yields have finally normalized, which is typically a recession indicator. So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to a few minutes of Lobo share his outlook and take. We're going to look at oil and what that tells us about the markets. Then we'll dive into the XRP token and some potential plays through the end of this week. So let's get into it.
And to your point, when you look at the price of oil, it's been vacillating between the $70 to $80 a barrel. Copper was at $5, now it's closer to $4 a pound. And quite often these commodities are considered barometers of the economy or the global economy. Do you think that's what these two commodities are telling us, that the global economy is slowing down?
Absolutely. Especially consider that we have a hot war in the Middle East. Just if you had said that was going to happen to somebody 3 years ago, I'm sure that if you polled whoever Bloomberg polls, I don't know where they find these people they poll for these numbers they pull out of their hats, or other parts that we won't mention. But if you had polled people 3 years ago that there would be a major blow up in the Middle East, Israel at war, everybody would have been talking triple-digit oil prices. So you may say, 70s, 80s, that's still pretty high. Well, okay, yes, historically it's pretty high. Adjusted for inflation, not so high. But with war, a hot war in the Middle East, that's actually dirt cheap oil in my view. So I see that as a very bearish indicator for global demand. And Dr. Copper's called that for a reason. There have been serious, we had new supply coming out of the DRC, but we also had a lot of hits to copper supply coming out of Panama, problems in Peru, kerfuffles in Chile. So there has been actual supply constraint. And so for prices to go down in the face of that is really big deal. There was just a report, I forget who published it. Just this last week, I remember seeing a report how demand is just not keeping up, even with these supply drops. So I think these are very powerful indicators. Both of them. Oil is the energy of the world still, and copper, Dr. Copper, is used in so many things. Both of them, I think, are telling something quite clear if you're willing to listen about the global economy.
And that's just the reality. Typically in a situation where, if demand even were to remain the same, but supply is starting to diminish because there's a lot of tightening. In the case of a war in the Middle East, we're obviously producing less. If demand remains the same, typically price goes up. However, as the summer turns to fall, oil prices have dropped sharply. WTI crude fell from over $80 earlier in the summer to $66 per barrel this month. And the data confirms this, as miles driven in the US peaked in 2007 and didn't recover for 7 to 8 years back in, obviously, the Great Recession. Despite the population growing a bit, when unemployment rises, people aren't driving to work as much. People aren't out spending money as often, and they're not taking vacations and road trips. Well, as you would have it, unemployment is rising in the US. We don't know how high it will go, but the direction is clear, as we've hit 4.3 to 4.2%, and the trend looks to continue to the upside. However, if the global economy is entering a recession, an oil crash will be a very likely symptom. So we're starting to get a lot of weakness in terms of demand across all sectors, and now we're starting to see an increase in unemployment and jobs, and all of these reports are starting to reach the Fed, which has likely got them worried and lowering the requirements on the amount of bank reserves that banks actually have to have on hand, because maybe if they kept them too high, banks would actually collapse, right? They'd collapse under the weight of the Fed alone in the case of any severe economic downturn. So we're really kind of somewhere in the middle right now. I personally believe we're still going to get some rallies through the end of the year and past the election, maybe into January. But by that point in time, I think all of this stuff is really going to catch up with us, and it would be a better opportunity to sell into the end of the year any potential gains you might have versus hold them. So let's get over to the chart. So yes, on the news from Grayscale, XRP did pump from about 53 cents all the way up to 58 cents. This news seemed to move the market, and it even pumped well above its previous range highs over here at 57 cents. So I'll toss a line there. But the reality is it failed to hold that range, and people seem to take profits. I would like to see the price break above the 57-cent range and actually hold it at least at a daily time frame. Right now we're on the 4-hour time frame before I consider this a new trend, because when I do come over to the daily time frame, it just looks like more sell pressure. And so that tells me that right now markets still are relatively uncertain. Okay, and that would include XRP even with any positive developments. At the end of the day, it's considered a risk on asset class. So I have right here a diagonal downtrend line. We have a series of lower highs. However, we are starting to get higher lows as well, which is indicating just a bit of uncertainty and arguably a lack of real, I would say, volume or demand right now, as volume is consistently declining from this range high right here. So in my opinion, this is kind of like a no trade zone. I'm not going to be taking any major trades right now. What I will be doing is dollar cost averaging, whether the price goes up or whether the price goes down, because I'm looking from a longer term time frame. If I come over to this weekly time frame, as you can see here, we have a very large, what I would consider a bullish pennant, considering we had a breakdown or a bear trap right here a few times, but I'm touching as many points as possible from December 2020 all the way back since 2017. On the flip side, and this is a chart that I'm sure many people in the XRP community are familiar with, right? We have this range right here. And so the previous time that happened, from 2013 over to 2017, we got a breakout for some insane gains. It is very much possible and potential that when we break above this range right here, I would say above 74 to 71 cents, highly likely we're going at least to the $2 range and potentially even the previous all-time high. I would like to watch the price action closely. Many people will go on and tell you, oh, we're going to hit $20+, we're going to hit $100 because this is what it's designed to do, right? But I don't really like to take beliefs into the markets. I like to take reality to the market. If the price action is telling me something is off or something is weak, then I might be more prone to get out. Right now, I'm not really prone to do anything other than dollar cost average, considering we are on the lower end of this spectrum right here, right? So that said, I will be dollar cost averaging, and in the case of any potential volatility to the downside, if the price breaks down, my buy ranges would be anywhere from 45 cents, even on a wick down to 30 cents, I think would be an insane steal for something that has as much volume and support as XRP does at that 39-cent range all the way down to the 33-cent range. I don't believe we'll be hitting 20 cents unless we get some insane black swan event, World War III. But in my opinion, that outcome or scenario is unlikely. So in my opinion, the best thing we could do right now is dollar cost average, whether the price is 50 cents, whether it's 48 cents, or whether it goes up to 70 cents. I need to see the price break above that 74-cent range in order for me to feel confident really taking on some leverage and potentially making some bigger money. But that said, holding and buying the spot underlying asset is a really smart move. When you look at the weekly time frame and look at the volume, again, we're getting a lot of contraction, a lot less interest. Volume is declining and declining and declining. And so the more that you get this contraction, eventually you get an explosion. We're obviously hoping it's to the upside, but I still have to remain relatively unbiased, as well as the fact that on the stochastic RSI on the weekly, we started to have a rollover on the slow moving average versus the fast moving average, which is an indicator that we might actually get some more downside and a potential buy opportunity at the 48 to 45 cent range. So those are the next major targets for me, 48 to 45 cents. If we hit those ranges, I will be buying another stack of XRP and then adding it to the portfolio. So if you enjoyed the video and you learned something new, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, like the video. It helps the channel out. My name's Paul, and if you've been wanting to put your XRP to work, go ahead and head over to bullrunners.com, link in the description below, to subscribe and discover how to earn more crypto in less than 10 minutes with the #1 play to earn XRP game. It's the all market solution, especially if you're going to be an XRP holder. Reduce your volatility, compound those bags. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain by simply checking it out. Thanks so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next video.